everyone, welcome back to Aidans Railways. Due to the success of everyone commenting and liking and generally just being really happy with the Action accessories sets that I've been doing recently with Hornby's old stock, I've managed to get a hold of, by pure chance, on the internet. It wasn't one of the sets I originally picked up. I've actually managed to get a hold of this, the Timber Depot, which is great. I mean, I thought it would be nice to get a hold of it anyway to go with the actual timber logging set that we'd already got. This is a much bigger set, so Katie's here and I'm going to get it out of the box. It's still in its cellophane. It's never ever been opened, so let's just hope everything's alright inside it. But I'm going to get it out, I'm going to have a look at it and everything like that, and then we're going to build it up, and I think Katie can control it and show us how it works. Alright, so we are down on the mat, the green grass mat that is. I thought I'd do it slightly differently today instead of having the camera directly above my head. So this is going to be a learning curve for me. So there you go, there's the front of the box. It looks very nice. You can probably see down here the buildings are much more red. The impression that you get on here is that these have been weathered up rather similarly to how I said I would weather up the other buildings and parts of the other sets. So the scope's there to weather them up and make them look a bit more realistic rather than just very plasticky like on there. Interestingly enough, like on the other sets, it has got images of some of the other ones that were available at the time. We have this one, and we might get that out in a little bit as well to go with this when we demonstrate this. And we have this one, and we have this one. This one Katie really enjoyed using. I think it's absolutely brilliant, that one. We don't have this, but maybe, possibly, I'm not going to go looking for one, but if it did come up with the right price and there was one available, I might be tempted. But let's move on to this one though. So it's still in cellophane, as you can see here. It's never been opened, which is great because I think there was one of the other sets, well actually two of the sets, that were very similar in that way. So time to try and get into it. So, cellophane off, no turning back now. And this one has a polystyrene inside to it. There we go, yep, that's all empty now. Right, let's have a look. Yes. So we've got some instructions on one side. Now, as far as I'm aware, this is mechanical as opposed to electrical. Similar to the first two sets that I looked at, it is completely mechanical. So I'm going to take a quick look at these instructions. So pushing control lever A all the way to the left, this will cause the metal rod at the bottom left of the platform to drop down to its lowest point. Hook the tower base onto the platform and then lay the assembly on a flat surface and push on the platform, and this will lock it into place. Right, so these are the instructions to build it. Let's have a look. Let's see what's inside first. So inside we have got the Forest Lumber Company. And we've even got a little forklift truck there. I'll turn this around. You'll be able to see there's actually a little forklift truck with a gentleman on top. Some wood, some more wood, a barrel there as well. It's looking very, we've got some sellotape over here, so obviously these doors open. And there's one lever and there is a second lever. So I would imagine one lever is to cause them to drop down and then the other one onto the chute and into the wagon. I will have to add that this piece of rail here definitely shows its age, because I don't think this is the more modern track. I have the distinct feeling that this stuff will corrode really rather badly. Yes, I have the distinct feeling that I may possibly need to replace this piece of track, but for the time being it should be okay. Let's just put that to one side and see what else have we got. And there is another piece of track. Now, I don't believe that these were necessarily Hornbys. Many of the comments, and there'll be some of you out there who will know more than me, many of the comments suggested that these were more of a HO American item. Just going to have a look here. Made in China by Lifelike. So there we go, it's the Lifelike models. This is very much not Hornby track, and I can tell you, I don't know if it will show up too well on the camera, but that is already showing signs of corrosion. It's very pitted to the feel. It almost feels like sandpaper. So I would imagine I am almost definitely going to be replacing the track, because apart from the fact that it's not going to do my locos any good or Aidan's locos any good, we just don't want that. We don't want to have that constant trouble. So next up, we would appear to have, that way up I believe, the tower. So this is obviously where the logs will sit, and it will tip, I am assuming. Aha! There we go. See the mechanism there that will allow logs to drop, and how many logs will depend on how long you hold it down. So there is the tower. Next up, what have we got here? Right, this looks like the chimney. Yes, definitely looks like the chimney. I'm just looking at the picture here, and yes, I can see that is, and it will go in here. Let's put that to one side. There's some tape holding all of this down inside, so let's just cut that open. And here we have a further 3 logs, identical to those that we had on the other set that I looked at. So now we have a grand total of 6. It'll be interesting to know how many I can actually fit on. So I'm assuming this is some kind of water gate. So we've got that. Yes, it does look like a water gate of some description. Right, what have we got here? And this looks, to me, I think this is where the logs will actually slide down. It does look like a staircase, but I think that's where the logs will slide down, but I could be wrong. We'll find out soon. So we've got that, and then one of the things that kind of sold this set to me when I saw it was available was in actual fact that there was another one of these wagons. I have seen a Lifelike one of these wagons available boxed as new on eBay. Unfortunately, it also had different couplings. I would imagine it would be fairly simple to modify and change. However, the price tag didn't make me feel very happy, to be honest. The price tag was looking at around about £20 for the item, and then about £7 almost in shipping, so I haven't bothered with that. But if you haven't seen the other video, do go and have a look. It will tip, and we'll try and do it this way. When it tips, it allows the side to come down as well, so that the logs can come off. So that does mean that we now have 2 of these wagons, which is brilliant. It means that we can run a small train of 2 of them with the logs as well. So let's put that to one side. Let's get all these parts together and let's have a look and see how it all fits. So, using the instructions, let's have a look. So, control lever A, which is this one, push it all the way to the left. Aha. And it will push it to its lowest point. So you can see, maybe you can just say, see this here, as I move it, that shifts. So it's asking me to push it all the way to the left. And then I need to place there we go. I then need to place this into there. Aha. So whether or not you can see this or not, right here, as I move that handle. So this must be the slip chute, as it's called. So, or the chute. Slip the chute with the high rail away from the log ramp onto the top of the tower and into the opening of the side of the depot. Ah, so there we go. Just before I do go any further, I think I should remove this tape, which has obviously been there for a very long time. It's looking very, very sticky. Very sticky. There we go. We got that tape off. Very sticky. And these doors will open. Brilliant. So right. So our chimney here goes in there, and this goes in there. So it's basically a sluice gate. Ah. So it would appear that if you didn't have the other logging set that we do, you can still tip your logs on this set. And tip them into the river for them to travel away, presumably. However, before I go any further, I wish to remove this track. And as if by magic, I have a replacement piece of track, which I am not entirely sure will fit. Not straight away, it won't. Right. So it would appear that this is the Hornby track, this is the Lifelike track, and I'm just going to place them up against each other. And the sleepers are longer by about a good millimetre, possibly coming up to 2 millimetres. So for the time being, I'm going to have to leave this piece of track in situ. But before I do anything more, putting it together with track and things like that. I'm going to clean this. Very briefly though, let's just assume the position with the wagon, and I am going to place 3 logs. Let's see what happens. Aha! That is actually really quite clever. Okay, back in a moment and I'll set everything up with some extra track and we'll get Katie in and she can demonstrate it. And we'll bring I think we'll bring the Coca-Cola diesel in to move the truck this time. So, back in a second. There you have it. That's the Forest Lumber Company timber yard. Well, no, is it the timber yard? It's a timber depot. It's a timber depot. We did get the timber yard out, as you saw in the video, because obviously you can drop the logs into here, which is basically meant to look a bit like a stream, and then the sluice gate would open and they would float down the river, I would imagine, or if you're American, the ravine, and down to wherever they would head to next. Obviously we had the timber yard as well, didn't we? Yeah. So we decided to empty one into there and one into the other, just to show that you could use the two together. Obviously we'd probably put the little one somewhere else on the layout, but just as a bit of practicality, we thought we'd just get it out and then see what they were both like together. The Coca-Cola train did its job and it ran very smoothly. I like the look of it and I like the functionality of it. Admittedly, levers, they're fun and they're great, but incorporating that into the layout's going to be interesting. And I have previously, since doing the timber yard, I've been looking at the possibility of putting servos in if I do it to operate the lever, but I might come back to that when I'm not 100% sure. So, how easy, Katie, was it to get the truck lined up to the ramp here?
It was quite easy.
Quite easy. I don't think it has to be absolutely spot on. What about pushing the lever for the logs for it to go down there? Because it is a bit like being at the arcades. Was that easy enough to do?
I just think it was fun.
You just think it was fun? Because if you had that bit, I'm going to have a go myself. And it doesn't work for me. Why didn't it work? What did I do wrong? I can see what's happened there.
It just Hold on. Like them.
There we go. See? They all came out at the same time. It was because I pushed it down too long and the two logs went down at the same time. But there you go. It didn't jam and we got all 3 logs out at the same time. So you had a lot more success than I did there. But then again, I suppose I'm doing it from the back. I was going to say, so you haven't actually, until now, you hadn't actually used the timber yard. Was that as easy to use as this when you drove it forward and unloaded it?
Yeah.
And was he unloading? I'm going to upload it. I'm going to have a go. There we go, straight out. So, did you find that easy enough, did you?
Yeah.
Here's the big question, rather than asking you if things were easy and not easy. Would you find it more interesting to have these kind of things on the layout that we're building for you and Aidan, which obviously it's Thomas themed and things like that? We're not going to get into the discussion of the logging locos because I've already had comments about that on the timber yard video. My opinions on those engines, it's nothing to do with me. It's Aidans Railway. But do you think having things like this on the layout makes it more fun than just driving trains round?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
you're just driving around trains and it kind of gets boring.
It can get boring. I mean, obviously you can do shunting and things like that, but obviously you can actually make stories realistically when you're thinking about it now. When you and Aidan are actually doing them round on the layout, you can incorporate things like this into stories, I suppose, because you could physically be making stories.
Because you can like push the lever and go on, the timber comes down onto the truck, and then like instead of just like driving past something that stands still.
Yeah, you've got things to do. So, like I said, that was Hornby's timber depot. By the looks of it, it was made by Lifelike. I will be replacing that track at the bottom because we had to run the track rubber across it, didn't we, quite a few times to get it clean enough to work. So it's showing its age. The track there, it's not up to modern standards. But I will replace that track. I'll probably, I would imagine it'll end up being Pico track that runs across it when the layout gets to that stage of putting this on. But no, Hornby, I think you're missing something here. You should get these back into the railroad catalogue. The other 3 videos I've done so far with the gravel tipper, the timber yard, and what was the other one? It was the conveyor. The conveyor, yeah. Everyone's comments seem to have been the same, that, you know, those items, they're more playable, they've got more action happening on the layout, especially the conveyor one, you know what I mean, the electronic upgrade one. See, now you've blocked it. I think Hornby is definitely missing a trick at the moment. I really do. These items should definitely be back in the catalogue for like the railroad or whatever. But I'm going to fit this onto Aidan's layout and your layout. I'm going to weather it up. It'll look completely different, and I will do videos on it when it gets to that stage. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this, and we'll see you in the next video.
Bye.
Bye now.